Hey, it's Brian Bergford with Bergford Performance Systems. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I'm really looking forward to coming to you with another installment in our series on thriving through a crisis and looking at the mental skills that are central to developing and deploying, particularly during challenging times. As I sit here recording this, we are right in the throes of this coronavirus COVID craziness, and in a lot of ways, it's been really sad to see some of the devastation throughout the world and what people are going through, the challenges they're facing right now. It's been really, really tough to watch. At the same time, I've been really heartened by the fact that there's so much beauty in the world and so much humanity that we're seeing. We're seeing folks that probably never would have connected otherwise, reaching out to each other, extending a helping hand, coming together in really, really powerful ways to grow and innovate and do things that are going to benefit all of us. But the unselfishness and some of the beauty there, and it's interesting because I definitely believe that crisis can bring out the best in people, and it can also bring out the worst in people. Haven't found that to be the case. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to leave any part of that to chance. And so just like we understand training the physical body to be able to become stronger and to take on more and to do more through training and exercise to build our muscles, our cardiovascular system, I believe that mental training is at least as important. The reason is the body follows the mind. And if you think about the mind as like the point or the tip of the spear, that everything is going to get aligned behind that. And so if it's sharp and it's pointing the right direction, everything else can kind of flow and you're going to have a lot more power coming through. And I think we could all use that right now, right? And while this video, it's interesting, I believe that one of the things none of us are going to run out of in the future is challenges, and we are going to face crises down the road. So even though I'm cutting this video in the height of this whole pandemic thing, I believe that coming back to this material and really looking at it and delving into it again can be very beneficial for you. It's not always the new information, something kind of like new and revolutionary and kind of like sexy and fun. You know, oftentimes it's being reminded of truths and things that we are already well aware of. But perhaps at a certain moment in time, you were so focused on it because of everything that was going on that the information hit you in a different way, and it created a transformation and a shift for you that allowed you to do some things that really made an impact. And so again, remembering to be able to come back to this material, remind yourself of the basics, focus on that. Sometimes it's just bringing us back to a point of what is the foundation and what do I need to focus on to be grounded in this time. So I hope that makes sense. Now, this video, I am going to be speaking most specifically to frontline responders, people who are essential workers right now. Now, if you're in that group, first of all, my hat is off to you. I know some things about you. You are probably working harder than ever before. You're probably a little bit tired, a little bit weary, and still you're out there giving and you're doing what you need to do and you're having the courage to go out there and to serve. And we need that so desperately. So my hat is off to you. And I want to bring you incredible value, but I want it to be really targeted and specific to those of you who might find yourself in that type of a position, whether, again, you're a healthcare professional or driver or whatever the case may be. This is for you. And the first thing I want to start with right away, because it's a term, it's a phrase I believe we're all very familiar with right now, and that is flatten the curve. That's what I want to talk to you about up front. Flattening the curve. Now, we understand that in the context, again, of this pandemic that we're facing. And the idea was to avoid having it progress such that all the, so many cases came up and peaked and spiked at once that it then subsequently overwhelms our healthcare system. We don't have the resources, the people on the ground, the facilities to be able to handle all of that and to care for people. So we wanted to spread out the curve. We wanted to flatten the curve so that we didn't have that overwhelm to our system. I think we can look at this also in terms of our personal lives. We can think of it that way. let me ask you this, right? Have you ever had a time in your life where something bad happened? And before something good had a chance to happen, something else bad happened. And something else and something else. And you're just like, did I do something wrong? Do I have really bad karma? Am I being like punished? You know, like some of this stuff that starts to run through your mind because just like one thing stacking on top of the next to the point where you eventually became overwhelmed. I have certainly been there. I have definitely been there. And I think what I want to encourage you to do is make sure to think about and take care of yourself, because you're so crucial right now at this time as one of these people out there as essential workers. You've got to take care of yourself to make sure that you put measures in place to blunt the impact of some of the things that are coming against you that could pile up so quickly. It could cause an emotional crash. And that is like the last thing any of us need right now. One of the ways I believe you can effectively do this is to make sure you have an adaptive decompression strategy, right? An adaptive decompression strategy or an adaptive empowerment strategy. Those things can kind of work in tandem. So for example, using time creatively and being very thoughtful about, am I spending time or am I investing time? When I'm driving into work or driving back from work, am I listening to the radio and the news? I don't know that any of us needs to hear more news right now. It's like kind of depressing, right? So if we can turn on something else, what kind of podcasts are available? What kind of audio materials do you have? Just things you can listen to, things that are going to really encourage and feed your spirit and your soul so that you are built up as much as possible. And that's, again, an adaptive empowerment strategy, and thinking of ways that you can work around that. One of the things that I found to be of tremendous help personally, and this might be a help to you as well. When I used to walk around the house and do different things that didn't require a lot of mental energy, focus, attention to get the job done, i.e., putting my laundry in the laundry basket instead of leaving it on the floor like I used to, and now I like kind of put it in its proper area, which my wife greatly appreciates that I'm not being such a slob. Anyhow, things of that nature. When I'm pulling some stuff together in the morning, or like brushing my teeth and just general to-dos around the house, what I did is I took my phone and I put it in my pocket and I just put an audiobook on play on of course my speaker. And as I was walking around the house doing some of these things, I could actually get through more material and really stay on top of that and put things in my brain that were going to help educate me and help me grow and stay on that kind of a focus. I found that by doing that alone, I was going through audiobooks about 30% faster than before. And it doesn't seem like it would make a huge difference, but I'm telling you, it does. There's so much time that's sort of downtime that could be uptime if we turn it into that. So I hope that that is a useful suggestion. Let's say, take another example. If you are somebody that's working in a hospital right now, and again, there's different pockets in the country, and some places are insanely busy, and if you're finding yourself in that space, but you're also thinking, I'm the type of person that I really need to get in, say, time to meditate. You know, that's what really seems to ground me, but I'm working so many hours right now, which is like outrageously long shifts. I can't meditate, and it's really throwing me off center. Well, all right, maybe every time you have potty breaks, okay, every time you use the restroom, right, just take an extra 30 seconds, to like stop, close your eyes, maybe take a few deep breaths, just ground yourself in thinking through maybe some of the favorite experiences of your life and things that you can be really grateful for, because a lot of what you might be seeing through the course of your day and just the nature of the work that you're doing and what's happening right now may not exactly be the most uplifting environment. And so you've got to create that internal environment and steal little, 30 seconds here and 30 seconds there. And if you will do that, it's not that you have to do one big thing all at once. If you're used to meditating for 20, 30, 40 minutes at a time, you may not have that as an option, but let's not throw it all out because I can't do it 100%. I'm not going to do anything. No, don't underestimate, again, the impact of like these little inputs here and there, because they definitely add up. Just like we can get overwhelmed by having one thing stack on top of the other and just get so frustrated and so stressed out, we can also be very purposeful and intentional about stacking the right types of things to combat that. And this is about, again, going back to flattening the curve and making sure that we're not getting overwhelmed by the barrage of stuff coming at us, that we're actively managing our inputs, standing guard at the gate of our minds and hearts to pay attention to what's going in there. All right, next key that I want to talk about, I would suggest that you may want to think about listing out 3 key traits. 3 key traits that you are going to commit to bringing to every situation you encounter when you need to be on your game, right? So think of 3 things that if I'm really bringing my best self to the table for what's needed of me in order for me to really give and contribute at the highest level that I'm capable of and stay focused, what do those things need to be? And so an example might be, and of course this is an example, I want you to pick what makes sense for you and the type of words that create a great visceral response in you. So again, don't worry about these particular words, but it's an example and I think it might be helpful. So if it was contribution and creativity and confidence, right? And that just becomes the thing that you remind yourself of, right? After you're coming out of the bathroom, before you come out of the bathroom, after your 30-second meditation, maybe you just remind yourself before you walk back on the floor, I'm bringing contribution, creativity, and confidence to what I'm doing. And if I'm not feeling those things, I'm going to act those things, act as if. And that is what you bring with you every time. But again, you have to be intentional and you have to prep yourself and remind yourself throughout the day. And that leads into the next piece, which is remind yourself of the truth. Because when you're in the throes of really, really emotional situations, crazy things going on around you, emotions will definitely mess with you. And they will convince you of things that are maybe not true at all. And so instead of going based and working based on what you're feeling in the moment, sometimes we really have to be careful to work based off of what we know. And so truths that you can stand on, things like this too shall pass. I'm stronger than anything that can come against me. I'm living in this place and this time for a reason. I'm strong and I always find a way through no matter how bad it looks. I am guided and I trust that God has a plan and a purpose for everything. I'm a leader, I'm caring, I inspire confidence in myself and others. I will make it through and I will be stronger for it. Those types of things, remind yourself of the truth, because your emotions will mess with you and you've got to guide your mind and stand on the truth and remind yourself of it, not just be intellectually aware where it's sort of in the back of your head somewhere, but we want to keep that at the forefront. We have to keep bringing that forward over and over and over, especially when we're weary. Especially when we're weary, it's easy to forget the truths that we know. Or we might say, like, yeah, I know that, and dismiss it. But no, let's keep that up in the forefront of our mind and make sure that that's what we're operating from a place like that. Now, the last sort of key here that I would like to encourage you to do is remind yourself that you're a hero, even if you don't feel like one. I think it's really interesting. I'm sure that you all have seen this too. When people are on the news and they did something extraordinary or they saved the day in some crazy situation, they kept something awful from happening, or they even saved somebody's life, and the reporters ask these people, they talk to them about being a hero, and I find it really interesting that it's like almost every time that people go, I don't consider myself a hero. I just, did something, it's just the only thing that made sense to do, and they kind of downplay it. Now, if you don't think you're a hero, I believe that up front is one sign that you are a hero, that you initially don't think of it that way. But how empowering would that realization be if you really start to circle around and think about that, like that you are a hero? What would that mean? And if you recognize you've got a critically important role to play, we can all sort of take for granted or dismiss things that we're really great at, or the services that we're rendering to other people, the skills and the talents that we have, the abilities, because it's not a big deal to us. We do it all the time. And yet, think of the people that you know that have really made an impact for you and some of the talents that they have that just astound you. And I can tell you that a lot of those people don't necessarily think of those qualities as being particularly extraordinary, but it makes an extraordinary difference in your life. And you've got to recognize, if you turn that around, you're doing the same thing for other people, especially if you're an essential worker. Listen, you have a critically important role to play, and this is the time for leadership. Your moment to step out and is now. And recognize that you're in the position that you're in for a reason, and there's a bigger purpose for all of it. And every little thing you do, it may not seem like it makes a difference to you. You may not hear about it, but you've got to remind yourself again of those truths, and maybe that's the biggest one. That I am a hero. You don't have to run around saying that because people are going to think you're crazy, but you can certainly tell that to yourself because it's true. You can be a hero to somebody. And the last little piece here is just remember to take care of yourself and take care of your team. Whoever your team is, whoever's surrounding you, whoever those players are, make sure that you are there for them, because every little bit counts. Every smile, every word of encouragement, every moment of courage that you demonstrate, and the people around you may see it and you don't even know that they're watching. So, kind of to sum this all up, just remember, you've got to remind yourself about curve, traits, and truth. Flatten the curve. Remind yourself of those 3 key traits that you want to bring to every situation, and remind yourself of the truth. And perhaps the biggest truth of all, that this is your moment. You're here for a reason. You are a hero, and you can be a hero to somebody today. You guys, I really appreciate you. I hope this material brought you a ton of value, and I can't wait to get back with you soon. Take care.